Good morning. Well, Jamal's one of 8 newcomers, but of the 8 newcomers, he's the one that was with us a year ago. So he's got an advantage as far as knowing our system, understanding, what he's supposed to do. He makes everybody else better out there. Offensively, he's really improved his outside shooting, and feel like if he can see it, he can make open shots. He's a really good rebounding guard, really good off-ball defender. On the ball, keeping people in front is probably his greatest challenge, but he's going to give us a little bit of experience at the position, and he's got a real shot to be in the regular rotation.
You're right, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I think that though Hayden Fry, the great football coach, said you got to scratch where it itches, right? So you got to go to your strengths. An open three-point shot is the best shot in basketball. It's worth 1 more than any other shot. It's worth 2 more than the free throw. And there's no contact. So we want to hunt for those kind of shots. Inside shots, you're going to turn the ball over some, getting it in there. You're going to get it in there and going to score about 50% of the time. 50% of the time they're going to foul you, it's not going to get called. And once in a while you're going to turn over trying to get it there, and once you get it there, it's not the highest percentage play on the floor. And so that's why I've always believed in three, and I've always said that if a color commentator, and you're watching a game either on TV or radio, says you live by the 3 and die by the 3, turn the sound off, listen to somebody else. Oh, Arkansas's got pieces and return as much as anybody in the league. That's a real factor. I know that Kentucky, Tennessee, and Auburn lose more than anybody else in the league. So the fact that they've got a new coach who's going to bring a new message, and Eric is obviously a brilliant strategist and a great basketball coach. I'm sure they're going to be, hard to guard, and they're going to certainly play hard, just like Mike's teams did.
Coach, to your left, second row, please. Did you have one?
Right. Well, I think Austin's got a tremendous opportunity. He is healthy, and for the first time, in a long time, for about 10 or 11 months, he moving like a forward, not a center. He's going to be a huge factor inside. I find it hard to believe that there are 12 guys in our league better than him. For Austin Wiley to not be recognized as an all SEC player is curious. For none of our players to be recognized as all SEC, but we're kind of used to that. But I think Austin's positioned to have a great year, and he's earned it. He's worked really hard. Just love how he's moving, and love how he's running, and I don't know that he's going to be one of the top couple centers in the league.
To your right, third row, please.
Bruce, obviously they've opened the line back a little bit. Is that negligible? How
Yes.
impactful?
It'll be impactful. It'll be impactful in the corners because kids are going to be stepping out of bounds all the time because it's tight down there in those corners. Your good shooters won't be affected by it. But your shooters that are just okay really will be affected by the distance. My guess is the percentage will go down about 1 to 1.5 points from last year, and there'll be fewer. There could be some fewer attempts. I'm fine that they're moving it back there, spreading the floor. Maybe it'll open up the court a little bit, and it'll have some effect. And then as every year goes by, it'll have less of an effect. In 2 years, you won't even notice the difference.
To your left, front row, Coach.
I'm just wondering, about 10 of the top 11 scores from last year departed. There were so many upperclassmen who made an impact, yours included last year. How do you think the league changes this year with all those guys gone and maybe some more people?
Yeah, well, if you look at the math of since 2010, but certainly in the last 5 years also, the quality of the league has been tremendous. I mean, The ACC got 13 pros. We got 12, 6 first-rounders. We had a terrific, terrific group of kids in this league a year ago. And so while I'm not sure the individuals list is as strong as it was, the coaching continues to get stronger, and I don't think it'll have any effect on the quality of the teams. This is a really, really balanced league. You look last year and recognize that Vanderbilt couldn't win a league game and had some tremendous non-conference wins outside the league. Georgia had a lot of really good pieces and a great coach. Could only win a couple in the league. It speaks to the quality of the league. We were 7-7 at one time in the league and got to the Final Four. It's just the league has never been stronger.
Coach, to your left, third row.
Bruce, you mentioned how some things haven't changed. No players on the preseason All-SEC team. But how have things changed for you and the program after getting to the Final Four?
Well, I think that we were able to make history. That's what those guys came for. The road to the Final Four had to go through Kansas and North Carolina, Kentucky. No team's ever beaten those 3 teams 3 in a row. I think it's helped us a little bit in recruiting. That doesn't mean we're going to get better players, but it does mean that better players are at least going to listen to us and take the call. And our fans just get a chance to bask in the glory of being the first team from the state of Alabama to get to a Final Four. It was historic in so many ways.
Front row, coach, right here, to your left.
No, would not have expected that for sure, but you could sort of understand how it took place. He came in mid-semester as a freshman and had a really good campaign. And then as a sophomore, he was ineligible. We withheld him. And then as a junior, he got hurt. And he was hurt at the beginning of the year, and then he got hurt during the year. So he was actually injured twice last year, which really limited how much impact he could have. This year he's healthy. So I would expect to just see really good things for him. And, he's that much closer to graduating. And keep this, he is either 20 or just turned 21 right now. So he is a very, very young senior.
Coach, standing up in the camera bank, please.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach, you have a young roster, handful of younger guys on the roster. What challenges does that pose for you? Just kind of what are your expectations on this season?
I've never had 5 seniors and 8 newcomers. Of the 8 newcomers, 6 of them are freshmen. So if you called a senior 4 years old and you called a freshman 1 year old and you use the multiple of 10, I'm coaching 40-year-olds and 10-year-olds. My 40-year-olds can absorb anything and everything. They've got all kinds of experience. They understand where they're supposed to be and why they're supposed to be there. My 10-year-olds don't even know where to be yet and couldn't even begin to understand why. So it's a great challenge, but the want to is absolutely clearly there. All 5 seniors are going to have really good years, all 5 of them. Each one of them are playing significantly different roles. Last year, they were all 5 good complementary players, very good. This year, they've got to be stars, starters, dominant, and that's a big change. Then as far as the newcomers are concerned, the one guy I would point out is Isaac Okoro. We're going to be improved at that position. He will be an all-freshman performer this year with a chance to be the freshman of the year. He is the best defensive guard I think I've ever coached. He can guard 1 through 5. I've never had a player be able to do that. Big, strong, physical, and quick, and wants to defend, wants the opponent's best player. And then offensively, he's just very productive. He's unselfish, and he will definitely fit into the mix right away and be one of our best players.
Coach at the camera bank in the white shirt, please.
John Calipari has a lot of 10-year-olds just becoming 4-year-olds. What do you see out of his newcomers compared to maybe last year's newcomers who are now 40 years old?
Well, you got to take the 10-year-olds and use a 5-star multiplier, so they're actually 50. None of us coaches in the SEC feel badly for John Calipari and the fact that he has to rebuild his roster every year. I'm certainly at the top of that list. John does not get nearly enough credit for what kind of coach he is. He is an outstanding basketball coach. And he gets great players to play hard and to play unselfishly and buy in and understand that when Kentucky as a team is successful, those individuals will benefit far more than if those individuals are successful and the team doesn't perform. Kentucky was the best team we played last year. Tennessee might have been right behind, which I think just speaks to the quality of our league. So they're picked first for a reason. They've got depth. They've got unbelievable size. They're extremely well coached, and so I probably have them right there as well.
4 rows back on your left, Coach.
A guy like Jared Harper moves on to the NBA, who is your pro general. How do you replace a guy like him? What player on the roster would fill his shoes?
Yeah, well, you can't replace a Jared Bertier, and you can't replace Jared Harper. Period. Jared Harper was the best point guard in our league last year, and I think if you asked a lot of other coaches, they'd even tell you the same. There will be no player in college basketball missed more than Jared Harper, because he did everything for us. He scored, he defended, he finished games, and he was a great leader in our locker room. But we've got really, really good pieces. Javon McCormick, who was Jared's backup last year, is going to most likely be our starting point guard. He is fast, he is athletic, he works hard, he's not afraid. Tyrell Jones is probably going to be the backup at that position. Now, Ty was recruited as a scorer. He was not a high school point guard. So his transition from being a scoring guard in high school to now having to play the point guard position, that's the toughest transition anywhere from high school to college, is when you take a guard that's off the ball and you put the ball in his hands. There's not a tougher transition than that. It's like making a running back into a quarterback and having to do it in about 2 months. So those two guys will get the lion's share. Samir Dowdy can also move over to that position. And it simply means that we've got to be better at the other positions in order to be able to be successful.
To your left here on the front row, Coach.
You probably had the ideal lineup for your preferred style play last year. The three-point shooters, everything, the quick guards. Do you sense a little bit different change, but to get the ball more to Austin, maybe see more to Austin?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to go inside more. There's no question. And even though it's not always the highest percentage look, but you got to go to your strengths. And so, there is a lot of contact down there that makes finishing challenging. But if you can throw it in there in advantage-disadvantage situations, then you got something there. Now, we'll turn it over a little bit, trying to get it there some. But, clearly we'll be more of an inside-outside team than last year. We were an outside team.
To your left, 5 rows back, Coach, black shirt.
Coach, 30-10 last year, Final Four, knocked off Kentucky, North Carolina, and Kansas. What do you do for an encore?
You try to continue to make history and win the 3rd SEC championship in a row. And I'm not sure if Auburn's ever done that, never been done. And so that's something that we're working for. It takes a while to change culture, and you don't do it in a year or two. You do it. We got to the Final Four last year, but that was 5 years in the making. I will say this, and anybody that's had any level of success will understand that it's way easier to get something going than it is to keep it going. Keeping it going is going to be more challenging than the job we did getting it going.
Your left, Coach, in back row.
I know you're some years removed from this now, but what is the Tennessee-Memphis rivalry mean for the state of Tennessee? And is that something you feel like is good for college basketball?
Are they back to playing again? Well, I think that it's a great rivalry because of the fan bases. Memphis is still Tiger Town, and when I was recruiting at Tennessee, I couldn't get players out of Memphis. I had 3 guys: Dane Bradshaw, J.P. Prince, and Wayne Chisholm was from Jackson. And those 3 guys had as good a careers, as good an ending to their career as anybody could possibly have, and yet I couldn't go to Memphis and recruit because it's Tiger Town. And then the rest of the state kind of lines up and is going to be, all about the Tennessee Vols. So I think it's a great, great matchup. I don't know what kind of I wouldn't call it a rivalry game. But Tennessee has gotten the upper hand in that series. And so that's not about Bruce Pearl. I inherited a record against Memphis where Tennessee had been very successful, Memphis, over the years. So I'm glad to see they're playing the game, and I hope the coaches can get along.
Time for two final questions. First one right here, and then we're going over here.
Bruce, you've gone through a lot of fractions especially 2 years ago, and teams kept winning. But do you worry about a couple teams, larger teams, notice evaluations? Do you worry about that being a distraction? You don't,
Injuries, I didn't.
no, notice evaluations.
Oh.
You don't really, nobody really knows the timing of that as far as I know. So do you worry about that distraction? Do you talk to your players about that?
I think everything that we've gone through over the last couple years, I always say that adversity reveals character way more than it builds it. And so I'd like to think that over the last couple of years, our character has been revealed, because these have been challenging times. So we've done a lot of things the right way in that situation, and we're not done yet. But I'm confident in the process.
Do you worry about your personally?
No, I'm very confident in the process.
To your right, third row back.
Bruce, you expressed your surprise that no Auburn player was voted among the top 12 or so, and your views to that. Why? Why isn't Auburn the players and their abilities appreciated?
Yeah, I would say this. My reaction isn't so much surprise as it is disappointing. I remember last year, before the voting came out, I was talking about, I really think Chuma Okeke could be on the all-defensive team. I'm not sure he would have been in the top first or second team, because every one of those players that were there, both preseason this year and last year, deserved to be there. They all do. But I thought Chuma was good enough to be recognized somehow. Orlando obviously felt that way. He got drafted 16th. And then, again, this year, I'm just a little disappointed that they don't think more of our players as individuals. The last point would be simply this: we do play 9 or 10 guys. We do share the ball, but at the same time, we're also not exhausted in March. A lot of teams that play 6 or 7 guys get an injury, and it's really difficult. We lost our best, our most value. We lost our most outstanding player in Chuma Okeke, and yet we didn't miss a beat when Dangel Purify came in, because Auburn sort of has, and perhaps what I've tried to do is, my 10 guys are good, really good, maybe as good as anybody. Now, we may not have 5 that are as good as anybody, but our 10 usually is as good as anybody's.
Okay, Coach, thanks very much.